Well met, lords and ladies, Jacob Butter speaking, and a warm welcome to this week's Walking Wednesday. It is still somewhat warm despite me wearing a jacket now. So, I have got something to say before we start, again. Normally, whenever Walking Wednesday happens, I always end up, occasionally I'll end up seeing the odd dog every now and then. That's fine. You know, a giant dog the size of like half of me was a surprising thing to see, immediately joined by another one, then 3 more in opposite directions. So I've now been exposed to 5 dogs over the course of basically just setting up. I'm not exactly going to say how long that took. I am indeed on a mission to do this walk as fast as I can, so that my mum can actually do her walk and get her steps in, because I have to take it in turns, you see. But, you know, did I listen entirely? You shall never know, because I'm not going to tell you that information. I've never been down this road before, so good luck figuring out where I live from here. That's not a challenge, by the way. I say these as a joke. Please don't actually track me down. I know I cover my tracks as much as I can with this series, you know, considering the very nature of it requires me to, you know, find constantly new roads and stuff that are at relative walking distance. But still, you can never be too careful. This looks like I was looking for a different path or something now. Anyways, let's talk about Dave Gorman, shall we? So, Dave Gorman, PowerPoint to the People. That was the thing that I went to see. But turns out, actually, the rest from the last Walking Wednesday wasn't because we were just resting and then like, oh, okay, yeah, time to actually wrap it up and go. Because my dad was telling me to wrap up the Walking Wednesday. I was like, wait a minute, why can we not just like keep going while we walk? Because I remember the venue. In fact, the venue itself is actually the same place where I hosted. Well, I played host to the role of Jacob for the first time. Well, I mean, yeah, I didn't host it. I was in a play. That's what I meant to say. Sorry, I've been very out of it. But yeah, so essentially that was where the Grimm Fairy Tales play happened. That actually gave name to, you know, the character of Jacob, and where I actually met the guy who was in what was in those days the Butter Brothers, and that's why I called myself Jacob Butter from then onwards. Even though I never recorded a single video with them, and I just so happened to, I don't know, just happened to keep the name. It was more unique than Thorin Cocoman was going to outlast that Hobbit franchise in particular. So yeah, a good decision overall. Anywho, not like it actually matters now. Much like I was saying about pop culture references a few days ago, it doesn't matter if you necessarily make a lot of them. The references should be able to work on their own. And yeah, they can sometimes be like, okay, yeah, you know, this character has seen this specific thing and therefore would reference it. Other times it's like, oh yeah, you know, you can lift some beats from other stuff. I mention this because it's something I said when during a stream when I was reviewing Adam Code Purple Remastered and Adam Code Purple Normal, which apparently is actually a prequel to the remastered version, even though remastered means that you've redone it. It was a whole mess. Ghosty is currently working on separating those videos out, so if you want to see them individually, then check out Gacha Review at some point in the future. If you want to see the full VOD, then it's on my channel currently. Yeah, it was a whole mess. But basically, apparently, the inspiration behind that was Demon Slayer, which according to Ghosty did not show. And now actually according to me, because now that I have actually seen the first episode of Demon Slayer, the comparisons aren't really there, to be honest. I mean, we only really get to see one demon in the first episode, or one half demon, or however on earth that works. I don't know. But yeah, for now, it's for now I can't see it. But yeah, it's not really a problem because again, it's all about the story itself. It was mentioned to me by Josh. I think he was trying to actually defend some of the choices that were made, or like trying to find some form of logic behind it. I do admit, I do admire his dedication to trying to justify some of the more insane, confusing, or just downright terrible beats in a lot of the gachas that I review, especially the ones that he himself suggests. But doesn't always go that far. I mean, I myself try to find some sort of middle ground and say, okay, maybe they want to do like this or something. If I can find nothing to say, then nothing positive to say, and that's when the negatives really come out. I don't know. Anyways, I rambled. Basically, that place, the place that like the birthplace of the name Jacob Butter, that's where Dave Gorman was performing. It turns out we were not only there, but well, we were also it was also because right there, when we actually stopped, where the resting place was the venue itself, or it was right next to the venue. I didn't realise that there was another entrance to it. I remember it specifically being up a hill, which we did climb, but I didn't clock that it was the same hill, because normally whenever we went there before, we were driving rather than walking, so it went to a different direction. And then I realised, oh, it was here all the time. So yeah, my whole like map of Guildford was very skewered on that occasion. It was a weird time, to say the least. But yeah. I essentially, my goodness, I just realised I'm veering towards one of those tunnels down there. Last time I went down one of those was actually in Vienna, when I was actually trying to find my way back from the pharmacy, and I was hobbling around, sometimes trying to answer people's questions like, okay, where's the address, because we've only seen it once. There's like nothing here is recognizable. And they sent me off to the pharmacy by myself. So I was lost for a bit and had to actually stop to rest constantly because of my foot, which was the problem I went to the pharmacy to talk about. I couldn't apply the solution until I got back home. Anyway, that one was much better. Obviously, the British flag has indicated to me that I am indeed not still in Vienna. I have not hallucinated the past 3 weeks or whatever, however long I've been back for. It's been a while, honestly. It's been a month, actually, yeah, because we're like, mid to late September now, was, early August when we were there, so yeah, a month. So yeah. Anyways, I really want to talk about the actual Dave Gorman show. If I can actually focus enough to reference it. There are some bits about that particular show that I am... Oh, hello! Oh. Hold on a second. I'm good, just so you know I'm filming. Oh, it's a thing I do every week for my channel, where I do like a Walking Wednesday, it's called. I just give an update of the week and such while I walk. Sorry? What I do? Yeah. I just talk about what's going on. Updates and sometimes topics. I don't normally take a picture, actually. I just use the normal generated thumbnail for this one. Yeah. Just a relaxed kind of thing. Yeah. So what bites a picture? What bites a... Sorry? A picture, what bites a picture? Oh, it just generates it when I put the video on YouTube. It'll be one of 3 options, yeah. I mean, okay, you know what? We can try and see if this will appear as the image. If not, I can fix that in post, I suppose.
A film or buy?
A film? So
Yeah.
yeah, it's filming now. That's what's going on.
But here film.
But here, I just happened to walk down this path. Honestly, that was, I didn't really choose this place specifically. It was like where I just ended up, essentially. Oh well, I will carry on for now. Nice talking to you. I'll see if there's something down here. To come what? I'm not supposed to take too long. I've got to be back, so I gotta keep doing my circle and wrap it up. Okay, but thanks anyway. All right, see you. What's the picture called? Oh, oh well, it's from my channel Jacob Butter. It's gonna be called Walking Wednesday, like 170 something. No, it's for Wednesdays, Walking Wednesday, so I won't be here until next week. I don't know if I'll be walking around this path or not, actually. Well, you're in the video now, because you stopped me in the middle of it. Go. Okay, alright. Alright, I must say that is the, What, here? Yes, here. I'm so confused at the moment. Okay, I'll bear in mind for next week. It won't be tomorrow, but I'll bear in mind for next week. Again, it's called Walking Wednesday. I need it to be on Wednesday. I think if, oh my goodness, yes? What time? I don't know. I don't do these on a regular time. Again, if only I had that consistency. Walking Wednesday is structured for no time for my own sanity. Okay, anyways, Dave Gorman. There are some parts of that show I am sworn to secrecy about because he didn't want them being mentioned. And that's fine. I'll talk to you about the stuff that actually did happen. Hopefully. So yeah, it's interesting because I've seen a bunch of Dave Gorman stuff before, whether it be Modern Life is Goodish on TV constantly, Terms and Conditions Apply, which is another thing that he does, which actually doesn't relate to his stand-up presentation stuff. Modern Life is Goodish is kind of more similar to what he's actually done, and that's the biggest thing that he has marketed, because that's what was on there. I think it's his most successful thing. Then again, he actually managed to make the news in 2001 because of his "I am not Dave Gorman, are you?" campaign. He was trying to find as many people called Dave Gorman as he possibly could, and that was like the earliest thing that I've seen of his, except for like one 1992 video where he wasn't really, didn't really look like him actually. Could have been a very different Dave Gorman. But yeah, I've seen the Google Whack Adventure as well, the Astrology Experiment. I didn't know what to expect going in, but I should have expected to be more like Modern Life is Goodish, which of course it actually was. So essentially, what happens in there is in Modern Life is Goodish that he will talk about, he will bring up a topic or something he found that's interesting about the world currently, and then he will make as many references and jokes about it as possible, take you on basically like a comedic journey in a way through the means of PowerPoint. Sometimes we'll play the long game to set up stuff before they happen, and eventually we'll tie it all into the end. Now that's interesting enough. Modern Life is Goodish kind of has like an hour-long schedule plus with commercials, so it's a much more shortened version. My dad hadn't actually seen any of Dave Gorman's stuff; he didn't know what to expect. But yeah, and clearly, as I said before, I didn't entirely, because he's done quite a lot of things. But yeah, it was very much like that, where it was a live version and also 2.5 hours of his PowerPoint stuff. So, you know, I was on cloud nine the whole time because, you know, clearly as a Dave Gorman fan, I was prepped for his particular style. Whereas my dad was hit with the overwhelming realization that the first like 10-20 minutes of this whole thing were dedicated to him actually talking about getting kicked in the balls, and how that was related to how he actually puts on his trousers in the morning. And so he actually rented out a green screen and actually used the examples of like motion capture and motion capture balls to actually symbolize how exactly, like, how close in contact he comes and stuff like that. It's like, I mean, again, I knew what to expect, but it turns out, yeah, 2.5 hours of a more prolonged version of Dave Gorman's style doesn't entirely suit everyone. There are parts that he actually really did like. And I think he might have actually mostly enjoyed the part that I can't really say anything about. But also, with the other part that I will talk about is that apparently he has a nemesis now. And this one was interesting because it seemed to be like cut off. Like half the story was missing. And I don't know, it was bizarre. So basically, he actually apparently has now gone into the world of cryptic crosswords. What? Sorry, I'm thinking of Aiden called me in to talk about fallen angels in the middle of the night, among other things, which is why I'm so out of it. And of course, I was thinking about Hecate, so I said crossroads, and yeah, okay, cryptic crosswords. And he went through like how the best method to actually do to like set up cryptic crossword questions and also how to solve them, and then showed a few examples of some of his. Some of his stuff was a little bit on the crude side, but not too much, which was his point. You know, it makes you have a little bit of a chuckle and you move on. And you know, essentially with outside of his element of PowerPoint stuff, that is how Dave Gorman does stuff. It makes you have a chuckle and move on. Whereas in the PowerPoint stuff, he will have you have several chuckles and just string you along the entire journey along with him. Anyway, so it turns out that there's a site that reviews a bunch of crosswords, and this one lady called Jane reviews some of his crosswords. He operates under Bluth, by the way, and he actually what was it? And then he didn't want to make her upset, but it seemed like, you know, he'd messed up. So yeah, I think he tried to correct his act the next time, but it still seemed like this woman still complained about some of the stuff that he'd written. And then after that, it turned that she said a few things where it was like, oh, you just loop in the entirety of football in terms of like hooliganism. So basically, it's like the typical like pearl clutching, essentially Karen. He didn't really use the term Karen, but I think it was generally understood. I'm not sure if Dave has heard of that phrase. Of that term, not that phrase. But then again, I've said on multiple occasions that Dave Gorman would make an excellent YouTuber, because some of the ways he does stuff, like commentary about things, like I've seen YouTubers do the exact same thing, just, you know, not in front of a live audience and not with PowerPoint, which gives him his unique edge amongst that competition. I mean, he already has a channel that's called Gorm Hub, which, of course it's called Gorm Hub. That tells you, again, slightly risque humour that he has sometimes. But that's mostly to show More Life is Goodish clips. He doesn't even have his Google Whack Adventure or Storage Experiment or anything else on there. Like, come on. This is some Dave Gorman classics that I only know about because of YouTube, because they were made when I was like 2 and 9. classics. Anyway, point is that, you know, this lady still kept complaining about stuff, and then just, you know, grinding his gears a little bit. So he decides to mess with her, and some of the puzzles were like related to her specifically, and Jane's obsession with him as Bluth, and then but it turns out, oh wait, that's not what made her his nemesis. No, it was actually when what was I saying? It was actually when another crossword like puzzle maker called Higgins, who uses really, really you know, foul language and clues and ideas in his stuff, and received no complaints. And that's when he said, oh, that's when I got an effing nemesis, ladies and gentlemen. You know, that kind of thing. But that's where the story ends. He just ends it there. Now, the thing is, especially in a 2.5 hour session, I was expecting some sort of like big revenge tale that was going on. Like, what happened to Jane afterwards? Did he keep going like grinding her gears or something? You know, is Bluth to this day messing with Jane in the form of crosswords and puzzles and stuff? Like, that's... we don't know. Because then he went on to talk about celebrities and the scam of like celebrity plaques and such. Because apparently the Hollywood like stars that you don't actually get awarded them anymore, you buy them. So a lot of people saying that there are like you know, honors and awards and stuff. They're actually either victims of a scam because they want to be seen as the elites, or they're just propagating that. Which was Rube's reference of why Tom Hanks is not as a nice person as you think he is. So, you know, there's a lot of stuff like that, like how he gate crashed a wedding and things. Basically, he moved on quite quickly from that just to a new, like, his new heated opinion and stuff. Which, again, I've seen YouTubers do in spades. He would be great in that atmosphere. So yeah, I don't know the end of the story of Jane. The epic Jane Nemesis saga will forever go unconcluded in my mind. You know, fictionalized events and stuff, I don't know. Could use a different animator's name because, you know, Bluth reminds me of Don Bluth, so I don't know. Maybe I'll call the crossword one like Bakshi or something. After Ralph Bakshi. I have no idea. Anyways, that's that for this week. I think... oh wait, no, hold on a second. This is the first one I've done since... did Musing go up a... yeah, no, it did come out beforehand. It's because it said 6 days ago. Yeah, because it said 6 days ago yesterday. So I've talked about that already. Yeah, sorry, I normally have more time than this, but I do when I get back, and I have seen I've been going this for 23 minutes, and yeah, that kid did occupy quite a lot of that time. That is probably the best interaction I've gotten out of Walking Wednesday thus far, is just... because normally someone will be like, okay, you know, they'll say something random, or that one guy who was talking about diarrhea in the middle of one of these. I have no idea what that was to this day. But yeah, no, just random child has a conversation. That's what I'm going to call this episode, or something along those lines. So yeah, we'll see if that thumbnail makes it in. If not, I will actually put it in post. We'll see what goes on. I need to return for now. So please leave a like or dislike, because your opinion matters, as I've done so already. And on that note, until next time, which will be probably less entertaining, but whatever, farewell.